Hello students. My name is Mr. Ndlozi. I will be taking you through to computer practice and 5 lessons, basically with the focus of MS Word, and then just the first part of your word manipulation. Today we will be looking at a few manuscript signs. We will be looking at page breaks. We will be looking at page numbers. We will be looking at footnotes and endnotes. Please don't confuse endnotes, footnotes together with footers and headers. The two concepts, they are different. We will be looking at margins manipulation. We'll be looking at line spacing feature. We'll be looking at how do we line number, or how do we insert line numbering in our text. And we'll be looking at how do we do column manipulation according to the instructions that is given. We'll be looking at how do we manipulate table basically within our Word document. So for us to be able to do this, like I have said previously, we will be using a previous exam question paper, of which this previous exam question paper basically it can be it's the previous exam question paper that already has been written. But like I said before, the principle of how you do the certain things, irrespective of which paper you are using, the principle of how do you do it, it doesn't change. So it is important that you don't focus on the year of the question paper, focus on the concept that is covered on the question paper. Do as many question papers as possible, so that at least you know that, because some question papers, some of from year to year or semester to semester, certain concepts they do cover, certain concepts they don't cover in that particular examination. So it is important that you get a coverage of all the concepts that is covered under your computer practice and 5 syllabi. Okay, now to jump straight to it, basically for your word manipulation, we'll be using this previous exam question paper, where they are basically instructing us basically to use a document that already has been developed for us. They are telling us the document has already been keyed in. The document will either be in a diskette or it will be either in the hard drive. It can be either on a desktop, depending basically where they have placed it basically on your desktop computers. So your lecturers will guide you where the document is at times. So they're telling us to retrieve the document that is written or that is saved as 4A. So we already have my document ready for our lessons. So this is the document question 4A. So this is the document that we will be using for our manipulation. Now, the second instruction tells us that is 4.2. Change the header, which is 4B, that is right aligned, and insert your examination number on your left. So you can just double click on your header. Then we can start by inserting, basically, this is our examination number. And then they have asked us basically to change question 4A into question 4B. So remember that every time it's very much imperative that you remember to change your question numbers to be in line with the question that you are answering. Sometimes if you don't basically at times attend to these minor changes, you do get penalized and sometimes not in a good manner. So it's important that you always pay attention. Now they are instructing us 4.3 to edit the document according to the instructions below and as indicated on the text on the following pages. So we can either do it following all of the instructions, then we can jump straight to it, or you can just jump straight to manuscript signs and then move back to those instructions at the top, or you can do them basically simultaneously. It's totally up to you, as long as you cover all the sections. That's what is important. So the first thing they've said, we need to edit the document according to the instructions below. So we would move downwards, basically jump straight to the text. The first thing that they are telling us, basically all the things that are written in bold, those are your manuscript signs. So those are your instructions basically that we need to follow. So the first instruction tells us that we have the heading kettle that we needed to change to be centered, and we needed to increase its font size to be 20. So we select Then we needed to change this to be font size 20. Then we needed to center it. That is done. Now we move on. Basically, we have this paragraph of which this paragraph, it's been highlighted, or it's been basically ringed as an indication. We are told that we need to change this paragraph into a line spacing of 1.5. So we select the paragraph, then we go to line spacing, then there is line spacing 1.5. Then we click on this. So that particular paragraph, it has now been changed to 1.5. Then we are told again that we have this heading classification that we needed to change it to center. So we needed to center the classification. So we select it, then we select center. So we have centered our classification heading. Then the next instructions, they look a bit complicated, but in essence they are not. Please follow me as we do this, because it's very much important, especially when we get to this part. So the first thing they tell us there, that find this particular heading that is fixed and then delete it. So it means this particular heading, you can just backspace, so it is now being deleted. So this line, and basically with your runs on, basically tells us that we need to move this paragraph from where it is, and it needs to join here so that these two paragraphs, they can form one paragraph. So we can just place the cursor at the end of the first paragraph, then we can just use our delete key, then that will move up that paragraph, of which now we have one paragraph, basically, of which now we had two paragraphs that are now being made one. Now to the big part. Now this one here, line number, they are saying to us now, number the lines of this paragraph, and your lines must start at 17. Now before we can actually execute this, we must ensure that when we apply this particular line numbering, the line numbering, basically, it only applies on this paragraph only. So for us to be able to do that, we must separate this paragraph from the rest of the document. And how do we do that? We do that by using a continuous break. From the beginning of the paragraph and at the end of the paragraph, we apply continuous break. So we click at the beginning of the paragraph, you come to layout, then you say breaks, then you say continuous breaks. It might seem like it's not changing anything, but believe me, it is at the back. You will see when we apply the line numbering, then we come to the end of the paragraph, again we say break, and then we say continuous break. Then when we come inside this paragraph, so it means the line numbers that we are now about to apply will only affect this paragraph only, nothing, not the rest of the document. So now on the same tab layout, then we come to line numbers. We say line number options, because remember now we have been given a direct instruction that our line numbering needs to start at 17. So we come, so here is our line number. So we say add line numbering, then we say start our line numbering. You can go all the way to 17, or you can just say backspace, then you type 17. Then you say okay, then you say okay, then there is our line numbering. Now remember, they didn't say, this is not just sentence numbering, this is line numbering. You will see that even if this sentence, it's still one sentence, but they are numbered differently, because we are numbering the lines of our document. We are not numbering the sentences of our paragraph. Please bear the difference. So we have done that instruction. So now we can further move downwards. Now we have this heading, eating habits. First we need to find it. There it is. Now under this heading, eating habits, we are being told that we need to insert a footnote here. use 1 as a footnote number. Now we need to make sure that our cursor is blinking at the position where we are being told we need to insert the footnote. Now let me explain the purpose of the footnote. The footnote is used to further elaborate on a particular word that is being used in your document. So for example, you will see that basically it tells us insert the footnote here, but already on the instructions here above, insert a footnote where indicated on the text on the following page in bold. The text of the footnote must be Happy Voice. So this is the name that we needed to insert. So it means we needed to come to the tab reference. Then we needed to, but before we can say insert a footnote, we needed to ensure that we have been clearly instructed that our footnote, it needs use 1. So we needed to use 1 as a number for our footnote. So we click on that particular section, on that particular down arrow, footnote. You need to make sure that the number format, it is the one that you are basically instructed to apply. Then you can say apply, and then you can say insert footnote. But now what's the name of the footnote? The name of the footnote we are given here on top, that it needs to be Happy Voice basically. Now happy voice, and then we are told that it needs to be bold, so we need to make this bold. So now it's done. We have inserted. Now notice this, that when it comes to eating, there is 1. So when one reads and then basically comes away across the name shrubs, maybe if they don't understand what it means, look at it. By just moving my mouse on top of shrubs, it gives me an alternative name that further explains what it meant by shrubs. It means it is the food for herbivores, or it means it's food for the animal eating plants basically. Okay, now continuing. Now we have inserted our footnote. Now immediately after that paragraph, we are being told that we need to leave 2 line spacing. 2 line spacing. We have 1 already, 2, and then on the 3rd, that is where we will now insert what we are being told to insert. Now we are being told to insert the table here. Now where is our table? Our table is right at the bottom of the document. Now right click. So the table basically we are moving, because they didn't say we are copying, so we are moving. So we right click, then we are going to paste it there. So we have moved, or we have inserted our table as per instruction. Now immediately once we've inserted our table, we are told that we needed to now insert a page break. Now a page break, you can either go to layout again, then you can just say break, then you can just say page. Then it means basically the next section, it needs to be moved into a new page basically. Now we've inserted our page breaks that we are happy with. Now the next thing we are being told, basically we needed to change Cackle Breeds into italics. Cackle Breeds we highlight, then we change it into italics. Now they are telling us now we needed to highlight this particular paragraph and justify it with your alignment. So we select it, and then we come to your home tab, then we select justify. Justify, it means your text must be able to move from exactly where your margin starts, and your letters must end at where your margin ends basically. So we have justified our paragraph. Then we have this heading that we are being told meet breeds. We are being told that we need to underline this. So we select underline. So our meet breeds heading is being underlined. Now we are also being told that the milk breeds needs to be also underlined. So we select milk breeds and we underline it. Now, apart from that, now see we have one instruction that applies to both paragraphs. Then we have one instruction that applies to just the second paragraph. Now we are being told that the second paragraph, we must make this paragraph bold, or we need to bold this paragraph. So this is the paragraph that they are talking about, including its heading. So we need to select it and make it bold. So our paragraph has been made bold. Now let's look at the instruction that applies to both paragraphs. Now this is another twist. I know we are familiar with the concepts of columns, but please, this one they've just added a little bit of twist. They said, candidate, place the paragraphs in parallel columns. Place paragraph milk breeds, it means the second paragraph, in the left column, and the paragraph meet breeds in your right column. Now, by default, we know very well that generally, if we were to create paragraphs, basically, if we were to create paragraphs by default, the first paragraph by default will always go to the left, and the second paragraph by default will always go to the right. So for us to be able to do this with ease, so you can just simply cut the second paragraph and make it the first paragraph, so that you can easily move you can ensure that your milk breeds paragraph is in the left hand column, and then your meat breeds paragraph it's in the right column. So now you select both this paragraph, you go to your layout, you use your column function, 2 columns. Now remember again, because usually if the paragraphs are of the same size or are of the same length, sometimes they just fit in perfectly within 2 columns without any issues. But now, because these 2 paragraphs, you can obviously see that they are of different lengths basically. So we need to ensure that for this paragraph to fit nicely into 2 columns, you will change them to 2 columns. But see now, paragraph 2 is extending, is overlapping on the left hand column. For us to adjust this, you just need to click on the heading of the first of that second paragraph, then you just press on the enter key up until the entire paragraph moves into the right hand column. And please, every time be careful that your headings, they must always be aligned to each other. The start of your paragraph must always be aligned to each other. So we have done so. So now let us continue with our paper. Now we are not done with our table. Now in our table, basically, now we are manipulating inside the table, where we have moved the table basically, but in that particular table we are being told that on this heading, table 1, we need to leave 2 line spacing above and 2 line spacing beneath, and change table 1 into bold, underline, and center. So how do we do that? So beginning of the table, say 1, so we have left 1 space, then the second space, then that is above, underneath 2, then they've asked us to bold, underline, and center. We select bold, home tab, underline, and center. So that is done. So they are telling us again, change the subheadings into italics. So these are the subheadings that they are speaking of. So we needed to change this to be italics. So we select them and we change them to be italics. Now, column number 2, of which it's number sold, they are asking us to center this. So we select and then we make this center. And then on column 3 and 4, that is average price and high price, they are saying we must change the content of this to be right aligned. So we select and then we select right alignment. So that is done. But remember now, the question paper or the question is not really complete up until we ensure that even these instructions, basically, they are all covered in its entirety. Now, we've inserted the page breaks as indicated on the text. Now, they are asking us now to number the pages at the top center of each page. Then they're asking to start numbering at page 21. They're asking you to start with number 21. So there are a number of ways that you can do this. You can say, okay, now double click, go to center, and then you go to insert. You can go to page number. You can start with format number, because now we want to ensure that it's starting at the correct number that they have specified. So they said it should start with it should start with 21. Now, remember, we've just changed the format. We have not inserted the page number. Now we can go to make sure that your cursor is blinking at the position where they have specified it to include your page number. They said insert your at page numbers top center of each page. Now remember again, because already in our header on top we already have exam number on the left and your question number on the right, so you can't just say insert page number, then you say bottom, you say top, then you select, because that will automatically remove your exam number. So you have to make sure that you work with current position, and this is where your cursor needs to be blinking. So you say current position, then you select whatever number format that is available to you, because they did not specify one. So we will just use a plain number. See, our number starts at page 21, then we have page 22. Then that instruction, it is done. I hope that was clear. Insert the footer centered in italics. The text of your footer is U School Projects. So we need to go to footer. Footer, it needs to be at the center. You can just go to Home tab. Then you can just use center. Now, your footer, basically they said it needs to be in the italics. Insert the footer centered and in italics, that is U-School Projects. So we apply italics, U-School Projects. Now, that looks professional. Now, insert footnote where indicated in the text below, in the text following page in the bold. The text of the footnote was that instruction, if you remember, we've already executed. Now they are saying change the left-hand margin of the second page of the document to be 4 centimeters or to be 1.6 inches. Now, remember again, they are not saying we must change this for the entire document. They are just saying we must change this for the second page. Luckily, because we are only having 2 pages, this particular case, there might not be a need for a continuous break. but we can just place our cursor right at the beginning of the first page. Then we go to page layout, we go to margins, we say custom margins. They have asked us to change this to be 4 centimeter. So please be careful. If your default measurements are given in centimeters, it means you will take 4, but if they are given in inches, then it means you would have used 1.6. So they only said we needed to adjust the left hand side only into 4. Now, before you can say okay, please ensure that apply to is observed. You need to make sure that, because they said on the second page, we only have the second page, we don't have the third page. So we can say apply to this point forward. Then we can say okay. Then notice the difference now. Our margins for the first page and the second page, they are not the same. So we would have changed our margins from the second page. Then they are asking us to save the document as question 4b. Save, file, save as, question 4b. So we have saved this as question 4b, and then from there they will ask you to make a printout of the document, and then basically make sure that your document it's in Korea New 12 point, and then you place this, you hand this into your examination folder. Please, by default, your document, it would have been given to you into Korea New 12, but at times, sometimes certain computers, they do change certain text. So all we have to do is just to double check your work, that everything that you have typed, or your content of your document, is given in Korea New 12. Then once that is done, then you have your document ready to be printed and ready to be submitted. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next time for more lessons. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.